All right, friends, it's T-Man. We back with the new video. It's on Alex Leonidas. You know, Alpha Destiny, our good friend Alpha Destiny. Alex Leonidas, the gym lifting, I guess you could call him a recruiting lifting slave too, because that's what he does on his channel, doesn't he? I don't know. He's not a coach, though. Is he a coach? Yeah, maybe he's coaching people online. I guess you could call him free coaching. Anyways, I'm going to review Alex Leonidas' video. Let's see what Alex has to say. Ooh, big triceps. Yes. Yes, we love this video already. Big triceps, bro. Massive. So Alex Leonidas says skull crushers equal massive triceps. So a skull crusher will equal massive triceps. Okay, I wonder how that works.
Skull crushers will build massive triceps when you do them the right way. And if you follow these form tips, I promise that you won't injure your elbow.
They will they? So how do they create these so-called massive triceps, Alex? How does it do it exactly? I don't understand. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that one? Come on, Alex. Stop hiding the secret from us, man. Come on. We know you know the secret. Come on. Don't just tell us that you're going to do skull crushers and the triceps are going to magically appear. Come on. Tell us what's causing it, Alex. Alex, where's your triceps? I don't see really much there. You do look really lean these days. I guess that's to attract, right? As an influencer, you want to attract people to your channel now. So you changed your thing there because your channel is starting to grow a little bit more since previously, yes.
Elbows. Take it from someone who suffers from hypermobility and had pain.
Hypermobility, yes, pain. I remember this. Yeah, he has some kind of hypermobility shit with the elbows or some shit.
From a young age. All that is gone because of what I'm about to show you. My first and most important...
I kind of have some of that problem myself. It's very painful to twist my arm to my back area and kind of put it up. I don't know. But that, could be from a lot of things, man. I worked really hard jobs when I was young, man. I don't know. Don't do any heavy lifting, okay? It'll cripple you in the end.
Tip is to never open an arm day or the end of your push workout with a skull crusher or any extension. You always want to start with a push down to drive in that synovial fluid. The rule is this: if your triceps and elbows are not hot,
push down that synovial fluid? Wait a second. Synovial fluid, isn't that found in your knees? In the joint, in the knees. Synovial fluid. What is he talking about? You want to drive the synovial fluid down? What?
And you don't feel a massive pump in your arms before laying down a bench and doing a
Okay, if you don't feel a massive pump in your arms, that means you're a carnivore. Now, if you feel a massive pump in your arms, that means you're eating an artificial diet called carbohydrates, okay? So there you go. So now you know the difference. You want to build carbohydrate muscles or you want to build protein muscles? And protein doesn't build muscles. It only ever builds muscles if they truly are micro injured. If they're not injured, then there's nothing to grow there. It wouldn't matter how much protein you eat. You can eat from here to God heaven, bro. It's never gonna happen. That's why it's not happening for him. Look at his triceps; they're tiny. But okay.
Restrictive exercise like a skull crusher, then it's not time. And here, I recommend using an implement that allows your elbows to move naturally. Now, many of you, that's going to be a single rope, but for you wider guys, I don't like the fact that you can't fully spread. So I recommend 2 sets of 12 to 15 reps.
Here's the problem with the adaptation process. So your muscle rapidly adapts by repairing and remodeling the initial damage that is caused in an untrained muscle, okay? So, but we know that unaccustomed forms and unaccustomed exercise and unfamiliar forms is what will bring back this damage to the tricep when it's adapted, okay? There's nothing going on there. I'm not talking about sarcoplasmic hypertrophy training like he's talking about, getting the pump, okay? I'm not talking about building artificial muscles. I'm talking about adding to the density of the muscle fibers, actually growing real muscle. So we know that unfamiliar exercise and untrained, that's what causes it, okay? But what does that mean to what does that mean to you? Well, it could be you resensitize and come back. You could resensitize and come back. But that the whole resensitizing, really, it's based on the muscles repairing and remodeling. If they're not fully repaired and remodeled, they will not damage with a repeated bout. That's the whole thing of the repeated bout effect phenomena. It's not going to damage due to the repeated bout effect protects muscle from a repeated bout of damage, so you don't get rhabdo. It moves into type 1, yada, 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 yada. Okay. Let's just say you repaired and remodeled these muscles. They repair and remodel stronger now, and now they're resilient from further assaults. That too, you could say, is part of the repeated bout effect phenomenon. They become stronger. The body builds muscle so it doesn't damage, so it doesn't grow any more muscle. That's the whole point. Okay, but you want to damage them and grow more of them. See, that's the difference. But the problem with a lot of people is the repeated bout effect kicks in. These newbie gains, they make you got them already. Got a repair and a remodeling. Now they're resilient from further assaults. Plus the repeated bout effect phenomena, it's kicked in. Man, as soon as you start lifting, so there's a lot of things going against you. So what are people building? What is the mass made up of? Sarcoplasmic. The sarcoplasm and the cytoplasm, they're comparable. And it fills up with a lot of this sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. It's based on glycogen loading, okay? So basically, the mass of the muscle, you're filling it up with glycogen. So that mass that you're building is artificial, it's fake, it's phony. Now, you getting better at lifting a weight, proliferating motor units because you want to lift heavier. So what happens is this. You start lifting heavier. A lot of people move, again, for reps, and they move heavier. A lot of the problem is it's adapted. It's really hard to damage these muscle fibers. See what I mean? They do bro splits. Sometimes they try to do full body, but they never do it properly. They just can't figure it out because it needs to be timed. It has to be timed properly, and you need to be in an anabolic growth state. Here's the thing. You need, when you're moving for myofibular muscle damage training, you need to be in an anabolic growth state. What does that mean? Well, they'll tell you protein synthesis needs to exceed this breakdown. It definitely needs to exceed that breakdown. If it doesn't, you'll get an apoptosis, and then they'll become apoptotic. These muscles, you'll lose muscle fibers. They'll die, the ones that got injured. You understand? In that session. Do you want that? No, you want to grow more of them. That's the whole point. So there's a necrosis, yes, definitely. They're apoptotic as well after you damage them, but there's a cleaning up stage, and then there's the DOMs. When it starts to heal the following day, when you wake up in the morning, they start in a healing process. They cleaned up the dead tissue, goes in your blood, flows in your blood, whatever. Protein synthesis is extended for an entire week. Blood levels are elevated. Now it's in a repair and a remodeling mode. Get it? And so that pain usually will last about maybe 3-4 days at the max. You know you've got really good damage if it lasts about 4 days, okay? But it's still not repaired and remodeled till the end of the week, by the 7th day of the week. And sometimes it could take longer. It could take 10 days. It all depends. But usually 7 days is the max. Providing you're in an anabolic growth state, you're eating enough, you're not hungry, nitrogen balance is even, and you're not starving and stuff. And I'm not saying you shouldn't add maybe some artificial carbs in there like a potato, but definitely you should be focusing on a hell of a lot of protein if you are damaging muscle fibers, if you are moving for muscle damage, hypertrophy, get it? Myofibular hypertrophy training, and not sarcoplasmic training. But you wouldn't know the difference because all of you are not sure what you're getting there, and you're thinking, well, I'm getting a pump, but you're not concentrating on what training you're getting, and you don't understand the modalities, how the human body works. That's your problem.
If your elbows aren't sensitive, you can go a bit heavier, and this can be either a warm-up or actual work sets to failure. I don't care.
Yes, you could try to move heavier, but if the repetitions are not enough, you need multiple repetitions to cause that damage to that myofibular. That's how we do it. See what I mean? That's how we do it in gyms.
If there's a bit of fatigue, if anything, that's going to allow you to get more out of less weight on those skull crushers. Plus, when you do a shortened position move...
Yeah, you could... Here's the thing. With muscle damage, you elongate the muscle, and it's possible to get more muscle fibers in that session as well, in a repair and a remodeling, and you get mass, elongation, and you get more myofibers. They form themselves. They call that hyperplasia, and you get a donation of these nuclei. So Yeah, it's really hyperplasia, hypertrophy, that training. Then you get mass. Mass is nothing. It's just energy. It's an energy source in the form of sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. Get it? Glycogen loading in the muscle. And the muscles can hold a lot of glycogen. But here's the problem. The more of this glycogen you hold, you retain in your body, it becomes toxic. It's toxic, just like drinking 4 liters of water. It goes to your brain. It's toxic. And then it ages you, and you keep increasing IGF-1. The more you keep eating an artificial diet like carbohydrates and pumping your muscles, it increases IGF-1. It makes you grow. It's a different kind of growth. It's not a repair. It's not a regeneration, repairing and rolling. It's growth. You're growing. It's like there's the energy and stuff. It's releasing. It's aging you is what it's doing. The more you move for this sarcoplasmic training, the more you age. That's why Alex looks so old. He's actually just accelerated aging. He looks like an old man already in his 20s. Look at him. Looks like an old dude. He looks like a trained old dude, but he's aged. You understand me? And he's pumped.
Like a push down, it doesn't generate much fatigue to begin with. So feel free to go all out because
I don't know what's up with the hair. If it caused him to lose the hair on his head now, I'm not really sure.
how heavy you go later doesn't really matter, and it won't be a significant reduction to begin with. I would not use a V-bar or anything that'll mimic the same grip as your skull crusher. You want a complementary motion that is very elbow friendly. So we're talking about single arm, dual rope, or dual cables. As long as you do this, honestly, any tip I give you after, even if you're not using the best forearm skull crushers, might not be as important. And one more thing about the push down, ensure that the direction of resistance is diagonal when you're facing it. Because if you get really close like this, it's not as short and biased because it's more vertical, right? But if I'm coming back here, now it's really the squeeze that's getting emphasized. It's not gonna be like using bands, but this will be the limiting factor. And that's what you want because the squeeze is least fatiguing, and that's what warms you up right around the elbow.
So here's another way of getting this. If you could either hold the weight behind your neck or bend your arms in a certain position and keep the tricep in a stretch position for as long as you can. I don't know, maybe two hours. If you can keep it in a stretch position for 2 hours, maybe even 3 if you're lucky, 3 hours in a stretch position, it's possible to get a hyperplasia effect where you're not damaging the muscle fibers, elongating them. In this case, elongating and getting more muscle fibers possibly in a damaged session. What happens is they'll create more muscle. It'll create more muscle, create cells to create more muscle fibers next to it. So causing more of the density, increasing the density of the tricep. You could do this sitting on your legs as well. The quadriceps, you can sit on your feet on the floor watching TV for 3 hours or a movie. And that causes a massive stretch on your legs, which is unusual. Your body sees this as an unusual activity, and it could add to the density of the muscle fibers by adding more muscle fibers. They've done tests on this on birds, man. They hung fucking weights on their wings and stuff. It's an uncomfortable position to be in a stretched position, constantly in a stretched position to do that. But it can work like that. If you have even your calves, if you were to stand in a stretched position, your calves are on the eccentric part, it's stretched. Let's say you put a board there and you stand with your toes up and your heels down to the floor in a stretched position, and literally just like stand there and watch TV for 2-3 hours or 3 hours or 2 hours, you're definitely going to get more muscle fiber growth there without getting an elongation in it. You see, there's no muscle damage. So there are many ways to get this hyperplasia, hypertrophy effect. You understand me? Not everybody's going to sit there in a stretched position for hours. It's something you would have to try. I know I learned this in martial arts when I was a kid, way back in the 70s. So I know it works. Also, they do a lot of quick stretches, like they do massive stretches like sets and reps on floors. That's different. That would be muscle damage at the same time. But you can be in a stretch position and get more muscle fibers. They will donate. Yes. Especially when you're young, it's a lot better. It works a lot better.
Now let's cover what you came here for, how to do skull crushers. So first of all,
But here's the thing, because you're adapted and because they're resilient from further assaults to muscles now after the newbie gains, you call them newbie gains, whatever, it becomes really almost impossible to damage them again. Of course, if you do unaccustomed, unfamiliar things or resensitize, a whole bunch of other stuff, okay? But like I said, the majority of people that go into the gym, 99%, maybe 95% of the people that work out in gyms are getting sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, and they don't even know it because they're frequent lifters. And you're an endurance athlete. I call these people endurance athletes. They're just loading glycogen in their muscles. They're pumping for no other reason than to pump glycogen into the muscle. So then they create a phony, jacked look. Get it? Well, that's not based on force production, lifting away. That's why you get these crazy power lifters. I got a stronger, but I didn't get a bigger. Oh, you mean you got a force production, but you didn't get a bigger? What does a force production have to do with you getting bigger? How can producing force make a muscle bigger? See what I mean? Oh, he's gonna say, well, there's a disruption on the cell and all that. Okay. Let's say you're lifting a weight, but there's not enough eccentric and there's concentric or whatever. There's some stress on the cell. Well, people say, well, it's the cell swell. If the cell is swelling, they're definitely swelling. What kind of swelling is it? If there's no damage, you're swelling them, right? Let's say you're adapted in swelling them. But what if you get damaged and they swell too? See what I mean? You get damaged, but you're not getting damaged. What exactly are you doing there? Nothing. You're swelling them for no other reason than to add more energy back into them. They swollen. Now there's a window for glycogen synthesis. Needs to exceed this breakdown in bingo.
well, you're probably using a preset easy bar. I understand. You don't want to do this in the benching state.
And please don't get me wrong, man. I do not hate Alex Leonidas. People think, you're a hater, man. You're a hater informing us of the truth, man. T, you're so bad for telling us to inform us how muscles are truly grown. So we don't waste our fucking time. You're a hater. Why are you doing this, T?
Or even the power racks, not for an isolation exercise, right? So you're grabbing the preset easy bars and your execution is interpreting the name.
How dare you inform us of the truth and tell us what we're getting, phony muscles or real muscles or fake muscles or whatever.
Literally, as in bringing it to your skull. Now, most of you are not balding men. In fact, you're probably quite young. So you have a nice...
Here's the truth. These are all very fancy, the skull crusher and everything. You could have just used the cable machine, or you could use anything for triceps, get it? But again, this is just a variation. It's to relieve the monotony in the gym. The reason why they make all these machines, which you don't need all of them, fancy machines and all these things, and you work out in the gym, it's to relieve the monotony because you're adapted. Muscles, they don't grow the way people think they do. That energy source is fake. That's why my gains are going. That's why people go on steroids. When they go off the steroids, all the phony gains go away because it was based on sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, which is artificial muscle growth.
Nor would one hairline. So you're bringing it right here to your forehead, right above the eyebrow ridge. And then sometimes you wonder, why do my elbows feel so terrible? Well, I would say you haven't built the tissue capacity, or you're not properly warmed up, or you're going...
No, that's not why. The problem with all you guys, you love eating carbohydrates and these artificial diets, and they're filled with oxalates. And those oxalates, what they do is they produce oxalate crystals. These crystals, they form in your joints, and that's why your joints are hurting. That's the problem, yeah. They also form oxalic acid, oxalatic crystals, and that is the major reason why people have all these issues. They can also aid in wearing out your joints. That's another problem. Better watch out. That's why you want to wing off these artificial diets and eat a natural diet. Eat your natural diet, natural food. Stop eating artificial food. Yeah, and it won't age you. You won't age. You'll look young and strong and better. Yeah.
Too heavy, but besides that, for all my sensitive guys, simply put, you're bringing the bar to the wrong place. instead of bringing it to a Norwood 1 level, pretend you're Norwood 4. Or go behind the head. And for this, I recommend leaving your head off the bench. I recommend leaving your head off the bench. So here, the tip of my head is flush with the bench. That is what you would do for a bench press, not a skull crusher. So, get it slightly off, and you can see it's facing down. So you bring the arms back, and from there, lower it to the top part of your forehead. And you can see the elbows are tilted this way. And when I come up, they're not stacked in front. So just off that, feels so much better. More triceps activation, less elbow pain. Now, if that still bothers your elbows, try using a medium grip. Remember, the elbow's still doing the same thing. It's responsible for extension. So bring it to your forehead. You get that nice groove in with the easy bar, and there you go. Also, feel free to use a thumbless grip. So you can put all the pressure into your palms. Larger surface area tends to be more elbow friendly. Now, being down here,
Yeah, you could have just did that standing up, but okay, whatever. He could have used anything for that.
still causes problems, then simply go behind the head, which is going to involve more long head, and you're getting the full bend of the arms. Sometimes it's that
Oh, yeah, I get a little bit more of a stretch there. Okay.
minor partial that causes elbow pain. Now, make sure that on the way down, you're not turning it into this weird, jerky, pullover hybrid. Nothing wrong with
Jeez, I didn't know Alex was such an expert already. Damn, he's an expert.
moving the shoulders, but don't let the pullover aspect take over. You don't want momentum. So there's a way to control it. That's the difference. This is clean, getting a better stretch, but I'm taking my time. So I'm not increasing the peak forces on the elbows or the shoulders. So we don't want to stack one problem.
Yes, Alex is taking his time. 4.5 kgs. Whoa, that's heavy weight there.
Onto another. Now keep in mind what I just showed you is an exaggerated version, but just to say, you can go lower than you realize, and that might give you less elbow pain than if you're stopping at the...
Alex can bench press like 400, eh? He can deadlift a hell of a lot and do a bunch of like rows and whatever. He could lift a heavy weight, bro. Do you think he could win at a strongman competition? Do you think he can win at arm wrestling, Alex Leonidas? Do you think he's stronger than bigger people in arm wrestling competitions? Do you think Alex is is stronger than any other bigger person out there? You think he can take on a big person? I'm not talking about even lifting a weight now. I'm talking about taking on a bigger person. Even a young person that doesn't lift weights but is bigger than him. Like, let's say the guy's like 6'5", and he's weighing like somewhere over 200 something pounds. I don't know. You think Alex could take him or what?
forehead. Sounds contradictory, but try it. One way.
You think you can beat him at arm wrestling even if the guy didn't practice at arm wrestling? You think Alex could beat him? Think you could beat him?
You're stopping artificially. The other, you're going through the full range of motion of all the joints involved
Did he just say you're stopping artificially? What?
in this exercise. Another way you can go behind the head is by raising it. This way you don't have to worry about where it is in relation to the bench, because sometimes it could be confusing. Like, how far off the edge are you? Another tip, this is a big one. Stop worrying so much about your elbows. Oftentimes you will hear that in order to activate the triceps, you need to tuck them in. But as I mentioned at the beginning, it doesn't matter which direction they're facing. Whether I'm extending here, 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 it does one thing. And you want to be in a position that matches up with your build. And obviously, if using that medium grip, you're gonna have some more flair. So if I'm close, of course I'll be more tucked. But if I'm a bit wider, my arms aren't gonna be all the way in. If I try to do that, that's unnatural, and I'm creating more lateral forces on the elbow. Now right here.
Oh, that's unnatural. Okay. I see.
You can see my forearms are a little bit internally rotated.
Oh.
If I try to tuck, I mean, it works because now I'm in alignment, right? But it's still not totally natural, and this is only doable with lighter weights. The moment I
It's not natural? Everything you're doing is unnatural here, Alex. What are you talking about? Lifting weights is unnatural. You understand me? Doing these things are unnatural. It's unnatural to do this. Everything that you're doing here is unnatural. I don't know what people are talking about, man.
try to go above 100 pounds, this is gonna start to feel a little bit wanky, okay? Now, if I use that wider grip, notice how I'm already stacked, and I don't have to do anything to my elbows. They're already a little bit forward and tucked, you could say, but if I try to flare, it's like, I don't wanna do that, but if I do a little bit, it's not overdone, like it still looks aligned with my actual grip. So what I'm saying is, just this Thursday, the second, just let your elbows move. Because either way, you're doing a restrictive bar extension. And if you're bringing the bar to the correct place, controlling your repetitions, and you did push downs before, then the goal is not to overload. So even if you do get better leverages by being slightly flared out, because you're closer to your center of mass, you're not in your strongest position to begin with. So it's still self-limiting. And that's something I want to touch upon again. If you really control that negative, maybe even pause for a brief second, and you don't rush out, there's nothing wrong with a controlled positive either. This is an isolation exercise, and you won't hurt motor unit recruitment that much, especially if you go to failure. If you do skull crushers, control from bottom to top. That eliminates all those weird forces around your elbow. Tell me you're gonna injure yourself doing that, even if you got a little bit of flare. You won't. Finally, everything I just showed you still applies to the straight bar. So assume around a shoulder width grip. No need to force the elbows in. Unrack as normal. Bring the bar slightly
I'm enjoying these lessons, man. Are you guys learning? Are you guys learning something?
back. Lower under control to the top part of the forehead.
Under control. You're learning something. It's not a necessity, but to break the monotony, why not? He's going to tell you how to do it properly. Yes, but you're all adapted, so what exactly are you getting here? What are you doing here? See, none of you are focused on trying to really build muscle. Most people are too busy focused on creating like artificial strength, force production, which is artificial. And then they're trying to create artificial muscles through sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. Nobody is creating any myofibular growth through hyperplasia hypertrophy. Nobody. Nobody is damaging, repairing, and remodeling muscles. Nobody. Nobody. A zero.
Pause if you want. Reverse out slowly, making sure that the bar is not coming forward, or else you would hit the rack. So that'll keep you in check.
I know they always make excuses, but I reached a newbie gain limit. I reached my newbie gain limit, my genetic limit. Or I'm a hard gainer. All the excuses people make, man, for fucking not building muscles. They got this damage in the beginning. A good majority of people, unless they eased into it, then they got fuck all. They call them hard gainers. They didn't get shit because they eased into the exercises. You get these people that got into it hard, they noticed they got really sore and they got a lot of pain in the beginning. They kind of forget about it. They forgot. They don't think about it, but they think that's just because that's the initial phase. Oh, I got sore and I got this pain, whatever. And then you notice later it attenuates. And then later the growth comes out. It doesn't come out right away. It comes out much later on. Like it says in science, it tells you in eccentric exercise. It tells you later, attenuates, done, and this growth comes out, whatever. That's what they're trying to explain to you in these reports. Some people think, well, they're confirming my fake beliefs. There's no hypertrophy involved there. No, there's hypertrophy involved. They're trying to tell you it comes down the road. You understand me? A little while later, you don't see it right away. But it will pop out definitely in hypertrophy. The hyperplasia, the density will pop out in hyperplasia once they mass up a bit. Okay, but like I said, man, people forget about that. And then they go into the gym and they're adapted now. And there's no more damage. They don't understand it's based on an adaptation system, like it says in Eccentric Exercise, PubMed, NCBI, bro. Science tells you everything. Everything.
And that's all there is to it. Nothing needs to be forced. It's all triceps, and even with a barbell,
they even tell you how to get this fucking muscle damage to come back in science. People are like, science doesn't tell us how to build muscles. They tell you everything. They tell you what is causing this sarcoplasmic hypertrophy pump training. They tell you fatigue training. They tell you high volume is getting sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. They tell you it's based on glycogen in science. They tell you how to get back myofibrillar growth muscle damage. They tell you it's unaccustomed, unfamiliar forms that cause widespread muscle damage and untrained muscles. They tell you it takes a week to 10, 14 days for muscles to repair and remodel to bring them back to a certain state. They tell you how to get force production. They tell you what causes the majority of damage. The squat and running down stairs and running down hills. They tell you that also in the gym what's going to cause it. They tell you a whole bunch of stuff, bro. They tell you unfamiliar, unaccustomed, untrained muscles get this damage. So what the fuck are people trying to convince me that science doesn't tell you how to build muscles? They tell you that this is artificial muscle growth, sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. They tell you this is fucking based on real muscle growth, myofibrillar growth. They tell you how to get an addition of these nuclei to synthesize protein to further that myonuclear domain. It's based on nuclear division. They tell you everything, fucking man. They tell you if you get a little bit of damage, there's fuck all going on there. You get some damage, depending on what you're getting there, you'll get a repair and a remodeling. And if it's massive damage, if it's really massive, you're going to get a repair and a remodeling, and you're going to get some more muscle fibers forming on top of it. Okay, they tell you everything. So what is this fucking people telling me? The science doesn't tell you how to fucking build muscle. Fuck off, man.
Those feel great. I feel absolutely nothing in them. Also, be careful when you're re-racking. If you're not looking up, you might end up here. You see how simple it is?
They even have a whole section on DOMS. They explain what this DOMS is, okay? They explain to you exactly what a DOMS is. You may have it all confused what a DOMS is. You may be just getting sore, but you're not getting damaged. But it isn't equated to a DOMS. It could be, but maybe not. It may be minor damage, so it only lasted 1 day. So your body's going to do fuck all. It's not going to do anything there. It's going to repair, but there's no remodeling because the damage is minor. So it may just repair, but it ain't going to remodel the muscle fibers. Then you get real damage. There's repair and remodeling. Then you get massive damage, repair, remodeling, and a muscle fiber on top of it. More muscle fibers. Yes, yes. But that isn't muscle damage training. No pain, no gain, dude.
Down to baby steps by dropping your ego and making...
Yes, and it could last a day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, the maximum. You know you got massive damage in that event. That's real DOMS, get it? That just means pain. It's an indicator telling you how much damage you have accomplished. You can indicate how much damage you've accomplished. If you're sore after your workout, you're worn out. Now, if you're sore the following day and it only lasts 1 day, that's very minor damage. Now, if it lasts maybe 2 days, okay, little bit more, still not enough. Now, last 3 days, you're going to get a repair and a remodeling. Definitely, if it's 3 days and 4 days, that's really massive damage. If anything lasts over 4 days, around 4 to 5 days, now that is massive damage. You're gonna get a repair, remodeling, and more muscle fibers. So that's how you read it. That's how it indicates to you. It tells you.
Minor form adjustments, you can cure your elbow pain today. And the more you do skull crushers like this, I'd argue, you'll even strengthen them.
You're not going to strengthen them, and you're not going to cure them. The only way to cure them is to go on your natural diet. Stop fucking eating artificial diets, dude. Stop eating sugar all day, and you'll be fine. But if you keep eating these sugary foods, these carbs, which are all made of sugar, sucrose, you can read it. It's in my community section, man. They're made up of the same molecules. Okay, dude? It's all sugar. So if you keep doing that, what did you expect? Hello? I know it's hard. You're addicted. It's a drug. Yes, they're like drugs, man. You can't stop eating them. Okay. You can't stop shoving this stuff in your mouth. Here's another thing. Your meat, you got to try to eat as raw as possible. If you're eating natural food, you got to eat as raw as possible. The eggs, the meat, this and that, because you're killing it. Frying it and baking and grilling it, you're killing the water soluble vitamins. Remember, water soluble vitamins, they come in and they come out. I'm not talking about fat soluble. They stay in there. You don't want too much of that either, because there's toxicity build up. But like I said, yeah, it's not going to do it if you eat natural diet. It's not going to build up like that. You need these water soluble vitamins. Yeah, they're really important. But if you fry them up, you'll kill them.
In your long-term programming and building enormous triceps. All the heads, by the way. So there's a reason why they're an old school staple, and even with their bad rep, many of the top pros are still doing them on the regular. Just to say, if some guys are tearing their triceps off, then you know it's stimulating. And the progression potential is already enough of a reason to continue doing skull crushers. Anyway, I'm done rambling. This was a topic very close to my heart. It hits home
The pros, like what? People on steroids faking it too? Come on, man.
because I suffered for years with elbow problems. So if I could fix them, I know for a fact that you can too. Let me know how this helps you out. Please share your feedback down below. And if there's other restrictive exercises that bother you, inform me, and I'll do my best to help you out again.
Yeah, Alex is going to help you with these restricted exercises. Yeah, the best lighting for the best pose. Wonderful. He lost some fat using who knows what to get rid of this, suppress this fat, so he could be like another Athlete X. Give me a break, man. It's unhealthy to do that. Christ. I'll see you in the next one. Tell me what you think about that. Like, subscribe, support the channel. I'll see you in the next video, friend. Yes, Alex Leonidas, one of our favorite YouTubers. I'm not angry with him, and I don't hate him. I simply am making points in this video, educating people. That's it. And he's educating you on these exercises. So I think it was a wonderful demonstration. Thank you, Alex. See you later.